In a world full of movie podcasts, here is one more. Welcome to Defend Your Movie with Sean Donnelly
and Andrew Fiore.
The time has come again. The champion must stand. It can only be one of us. Victoria! So stand up and fight, my friend. There's a title you must defend. Shut it on and on. Bring it to me. Defend your...
Hello there, everybody, and welcome to an edition of the DYM podcast.
Woo-wee.
No longer is it Defend Your Movie. DYM, because you know why? Because it's not just movies, Andy, right? You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about, baby.
We appreciate you guys listening, and in fact, we can start off with some really good news. Like, the DYM podcast has their first... the first week of DYM podcast is a woman named Melissa contacted me. She said, I'm listening to your podcast. I love it. So there you go. DYM
right.
is taking over the nation, dude. I think that
One person at a time. All good things come to those who wait, I believe someone said at one point.
We're basically, I would say, are we at Andrew Schultz level at this point? Are we,
Yeah. We got an Andrew, right? I'm an Andrew.
So what's going on, dude? How are you? You want to tell people what's going on, or you want to talk about something else?
Yeah, sure. We can tell everybody. I apologize for taking the week off. Unfortunately, my father, Joe, passed away last week after an amazing run of 96 years.
96 years.
He had a long, super happy life. He was the smiliest, happiest dude I know. So we will miss him, obviously, but it's hard not to think of all the good memories of him and not feel good that way. So the sadness kind of comes and goes in waves, as I'm sure you know with your father passing away a couple years ago. But it wasn't unexpected, and he died peacefully. So I want to say thank you to everybody who reached out, and like Sean, everybody who sent flowers or food to my mom and our family. It was really so sweet of everybody, and it really made us feel good. And it did feel good to hear from everybody. And so apologies if I have yet to get back to people. But,
I think that's understandable, dude.
Right. It really doesn't go unnoticed. So, it's just one of those things that happens in life. Like I said, he was an old guy, and his age finally caught up with him. So there's really not much more of a life you could have lived.
But man, talk about a life, man. What a man's man he was. Like,
really, truly a man's man. He was, born in 1923. He went to, RPI to become a mechanical engineer. In between college, he went to World War II, played in the Olympics, and then went back to college, got his degree. Met my mom years later.
Can we write a screenplay about your dad?
We probably should. Because
I'll tell you, like. Right now, this is the part. You know what sucks about life is that right now this is the part where everybody's giving all the attention. Oh, because your dad died, and really, when it comes down to it, even if you don't realize this is what you're thinking, you're like, why didn't you get excited about him when he was around? Like, why didn't you guys call me and say how great he is when he's around?
Yeah.
Because,
not to totally, here's the thing: people did say that about my dad, though. That was the crazy thing. People would take the point to go, your dad is a special guy. So it did come up every now and then. It was, so I don't know. The one thing I did notice, which was very new to me, obviously, was, like I said, it comes and goes. And I'm generally doing okay with the whole thing because, like I said, it was not unexpected. And
you seem a little somber.
Yeah, a little somber, but like I said,
it makes sense. Yeah,
we knew that he was really, losing strength, and
you would tell me that. Yeah.
So I knew it was coming, but of course, it's a smack in the face when it actually happens. That being said, the first moment I realized that really kind of caught me off guard was this past Saturday. There was a big UFC fight on ESPN.
Yeah.
My dad, toward the end, started to love UFC. He loved Conor McGregor and everything. And I had that unconscious thing of watching it, and I go, I got to let my dad know this is on. And then I went, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
That was the first one where I went, oh, shit, I just didn't realize it.
Yeah.
You know, because he wouldn't pay attention. I'd be like, I have to call him and let him know that's on so he can watch it. And that was the first really stinger that I had.
Yeah, that'll get you.
Yeah. But other than that, my mom is doing great. My mom's been a real champion. You know, I knew she was a strong little lady, but she really impressed me. And even I'll give props to my younger sister, too, who is very emotional. And I thought she was going to be a lot worse, like not in a negative way, but I just thought she was going to handle it. She was just going to have a hard time with it. And she's been doing great, too. So it's like I'm proud of everybody. And that makes me feel good inside. That makes me feel a whole lot better that they're doing okay. It makes it easier for me, you know, because in the end, I think even though you say like man's man stuff, you're like, I still feel that need to make sure everybody's okay before I am. You know what I mean? And I think that comes from my dad because that's the way he was. He never put himself first ever.
Yeah.
You know,
that's that old school way. It's like it's a much more selfless way of being.
Yeah, that's what he was, and that was my dad to a T. I mentioned that in the eulogy, which, whoo, buddy, that was a tough one.
Oh my god, oh my god, I don't think I can do that by myself.
I mean, my sisters went before me, you know, and then me. I headlined, but you know, my older sister spoke, and you
just start doing bits at the end of it. You have to fill time.
Well,
you have dad bits.
I did kind of put one of my jokes about my dad, not as the full joke, but it was more. I made it more of an anecdote about him, about how my dad, he was driving and you were sitting shotgun, essentially front seat, he would literally pull up to an intersection. He'd go check right, which was just your homework assignment. Then you had to check right for oncoming traffic. It was crazy. It was a crazy thing. So I kind of put that in there as like a fun little story. I had to catch myself twice. I didn't make it through clean, man. I got choked up.
Of course.
No, it was a tough.
You know what? I think, okay, so my experience was that my dad died a long time ago. Okay, not that I'm saying it's still not sad. It's sad.
Yeah.
Just as literally 20 years ago. March was 20 years. And he was a young guy, and it wasn't sudden because he was sick for a year and a half. But what got me, just because I'm wondering if you had the same thing, was I was pretty much fine during the wakes and then before it, but I cried right when he died because he died in our house. And then, but the funeral is what got me. I saw my friend crying on the stoops of the church, and that got me for some reason. I don't know why. And then I went up on stage, and we said something, we read something, whatever it was, but to give a speech would have been, I got to hand it to you because I wouldn't have been able to do it.
Thanks, man. I poured over writing it, and I do understand that. It's that thing like in grade school when if you're joking around and you're getting scolded by a teacher or an adult or whoever, and if you look at your friend and they're going to make you laugh, it's that same thing where like for me, I would be doing okay, and then I'd see like my best friend who's known my dad since day one from preschool. When they came to the viewing and I saw Steve break down, then I lost it too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
You know?
It's like yawning. Yeah.
Yeah. So it is. It was, I've been doing okay though. So I just had, you have those moments. It just comes and goes. You know?
Man, I hear you. And,
every day I'll get a little better though, but
that's what happens. It's not like, it's one of those things where people are like, oh my God, are you okay? It's like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm like, because nothing actually physically happens to you, but you're like, yeah, I just have to get you. It's like a new normal. Yeah. People talk about coronavirus, new normal. You have like, dad passes away, new normal. It's a new normal. And it feels weird. And it's good. Like you said, it comes in waves. That's what's going to happen.
That was the unfortunate thing, too, with the whole goddamn coronavirus thing is we really couldn't celebrate this great man's life the way we wanted to. And we had a great turnout at the church and the mass, but could really only have, like, a quick viewing from, like, 9 to 10 a.m., and then 10 a.m. was a Catholic mass, and then a burial, which you had a military burial, and the amount of people there was limited, though. So I had all our out-of-state relatives who are a little older now because my dad was in his late hundreds. So all his nieces and nephews are even like older than 60s and 70s. You know what I mean?
Oh, right, yeah.
So like they can't travel because we have a lot of them in Texas and California, the two places that have spiked the most.
Oh
is
my
where
God.
they live. So that was
I'm surprised they still didn't come out, because that's old. One thing old people love is when funerals. Like they don't love it. They don't love it, but they'll mobilize. Like they will mobilize.
Funerals and voting.
yeah. Whatever they can take a bus to, they'll just get really psyched about.
Yeah, it was just too far. Like we had some of the younger kids. Like my cousin Tony lives in New York, and he was technically my dad's like third nephew or whatever the hell that weird math works out in families. He came, but it was just I get it. We'll have a big memorial, big party for him down the road when everything's lifted. But it is weird to see people in church in masks, and they had to close the casket for the viewing from the family. So we went in there from 9 to 9:15, 9:20 with the open casket. And then they go at 9:30 or 9:45, we have to shut the casket for the viewing public. I go, homeboy's not getting any sicker. I don't know why you got to close the casket. You know what I mean? So
you're not spreading any more,
Yeah, I don't know why that was a rule, but I guess it's something that, like you said, the new normal we got to live with. But,
it's such a weird thing, but yeah, you seem good, man. You got a new
thank you
cut.
Again to everybody. Yeah, and it was nice. We had a bunch of people over the house. It was mostly like the young people, the college friends, and the hometown friends.
I'll tell you, man. Like what happens is, like you said, like with that momentary thought of like, gotta call him because of this.
Yeah,
like that. That's the little things that get you. Like that gets you.
And that was. I was in public and I had to be like, bite my lip a little.
Yeah. I thought I was walking around, and it was probably, I don't know, maybe a year after my dad died. Actually, no, probably shorter than that. Maybe 6 months. And I saw a guy from behind, and I was like, that's him. That's my. And I was like, that's him. That's definitely him. And I was like, to the point where you're physically going to go up and tap him on the shoulder and be like, are you sure you're not the guy?
Right, yeah.
But I come from American Irish family, which is very, very, it's the thing is you don't express how you're feeling, and you don't. The best thing you can do when somebody passes away, I think, is be as vocal about it as possible. Is who cares? Blubber as much as you want, because that's going to help you. Because I've seen examples of both, people who don't do that and people who do. And the people who actually deal with it properly seem healthier years down the road. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if you're having thoughts about it, you just say it, or you cry, or you fucking yell at it, whatever the fuck. It's like all energy anyway. It gets that shit out, you know?
Oh, for sure. I've had no lack of crying. I'm in the emotional Italian, Irish Catholics. I mean, at least for me, we do bottle things up. But for me, when it happens, I let it all out. So it's been better over the last few days. But again, not to dwell too much on it.
Are you still by home? Are you still by home, or?
I'm back in Astoria, Queens now. I came back this week. But yeah, I did spend a lot of time with my mom.
Have you been trying to kill time and watch anything on like movies or whatever? Or,
I'll tell you what we talked about 2 weeks ago. It said you were reacquainting yourself with Inside Man.
Well, yeah, I didn't want to bring that up because that's another hurtful day for you.
Well, here's what I mistakenly, I took that for The Insider with Russell Crowe.
Oh, shit, okay.
Which was the movie that I was referring to on Another Sad Time. So I saw Inside Man come up on Netflix. I go, I was talking about a totally different movie. And so I watched it the other night. It was great.
It's great, isn't it? Oh, cool. Okay. Inside Man, just like Michael Clayton, can be a DYM podcast favorite. If you haven't seen Michael Clayton, watch Michael Clayton. But
maybe it's been on HBO a bunch. If you haven't,
I rewatched Inside Man. Isn't it? I
had never seen it. Actually,
it's great.
I don't know why that was one that just got beyond me.
Well, I think it was supposed to be directed by Marceau.
What are you doing over there? You're hitting mute and you're going in and out.
No, I'm not. Hold on. Yeah, hold on.
Tech issues here, gang.
How about now?
You sound fine. It sounded you muted your. I keep getting the mute signal from you.
Oh, still even now?
Now you're good.
Okay.
Every now and then it would pop up and you'd go from a different mic to a new mic, but now
for some reason
great.
The USB 3.0 connection on my mic does this. I don't know why.
3.0.
3.0. 3. How about 3.0?
Hey, even in death, kids still got it.
Death. But yeah, dude. So I basically, I'm a fan. That's one of my. It's probably in my top 15. I don't know, top 20. Inside that, I think it's an underrated movie. Apparently, it was supposed to be Scorsese originally directing it, but he didn't.
I read that. Yes.
And I just think it's also one of the best things that Spike Lee has done.
Yeah, really good Spike Lee movie. I love a good fucking heist movie, man, with twists and turns and action.
Yeah.
It was great. I just love it's like Ocean's 11 was on the other day, and I sit there and I watch it every time. Just
I know.
I love people pulling the wool over and stealing from the bad guys. I've
seen it so much. It's just comforting at this point, right?
Yeah. So I love a good heist bank robbery movie. Really good. Clive Owen's really good. Denzel is really good, and I'm not the biggest Denzel fan because I'm always like, hey, he's kind of one note. And there's a little bit of that Denzel. He's still Denzel, but it wasn't the annoying Denzel. It wasn't like
no, it wasn't. It wasn't him. It wasn't him doing
Denzel that I liked.
Yes, Man on Fire I love as well. Yeah, it was like cooler Denzel. It was like when at one point he goes, Detective First Grade Keith Frazier.
Yeah.
Because he makes first grade detective in the movie. But yeah, I know what you mean. It wasn't Training Day Denzel, like where he was going.
Correct. Right.
That's what's great. That's actually, I like him. I don't mind him because I think he can go back and forth on that. When you have Pacino, on the other hand, who is just kind of like, he put his foot on the gas and never took it off, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Also, but then if you take Once Upon a Time in Hollywood Pacino, you go, oh, he's using wacky Pacino now for good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's using the Pacino character. It really, really fits because it's this over-top Pacino character, but done with like Jewish film executive twist. Like,
right.
It's really good, you know. But yeah, dude, Inside Man is great. I watched.
Real fun.
I think I watched it for the first time was Wayne's World 2. I don't think I ever saw it originally.
Oh, you know me, one of the most underrated sequels I think out there.
It's really funny.
Did you love it? There's some.
I liked it a lot. I liked it way better than I thought I would.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a sequel. It's never going to be the first one, but there's some really funny bits in there. And speaking of which, we should also say R.I.P. to another legend, Carl Reiner. We just lost.
Oh yes, yeah.
The Jerk is, if I'm just going comedies alone, in my top 3 favorite comedies of all time. It's a deadly funny movie. It's a very sweet movie as well. When they sing Tonight, All I Want Is You, or Tonight You Belong to Me.
Yeah.
And they're walking on the beach. It's like one of my favorite moments in movie history. It's so sweet. And I just love the movie, and it's so funny. And
yeah. Carl Reiner, he's from a different time, but he's funny.
Absolutely.
Really funny writer.
But the reason I bring up him, not only because he passed away, it's just kind of coincidental, because there's that one of my favorite scenes in Wayne's World 2 where they're waiting to go on the radio and plug Wayne stock. Wayne and Garth are sitting in the waiting room.
But Handsome Dan,
and he actually goes up. There's a cameo by Drew Barrymore, though. She's the receptionist from Sweden. And she's so beautiful, and he kind of takes a step back. He's walking backwards, and he hits the coffee table. And he goes, "Oop, Dick Van Dyke Show." So there's a little Carl Reiner connection right there. But yeah, dude, Harry Shearer, and then Ted McGinley as Mr. Scream, actually, not Handsome Dan.
No, it's is that Ted McGinley or is that what's his name?
Jefferson Darcy on.
Yeah, but isn't Ted McGinley? Oh yeah, you're right. It is Ted McGinley. Yeah, that's Ted McGinley. Yeah.
You're getting John C. McGinley as well. There's a couple McGinleys.
There's a couple McGinleys in there.
He's McGinley. But yeah, it's so funny. It's my favorite use of the word "cranked" by Harry Shearer. He goes, it's just doing that whole and they're doing the whole, we can say anything we want right now. You're not even listening. Right.
Yeah.
And then he finally stops. He goes, hey, guys, Wayne Campbell, Garth Algar, great stuff. Wayne stock. I think people are really starting to get cranked. It's such a great use of the word cranked.
You know, it reminds me of Airheads. You ever see Airheads?
Very much. Which is another underrated movie. I love Airheads, man.
He goes, it's a great movie. Buscemi comes outside with the gun and he goes, hey, we're partying in here. He goes, we're partying here. We have all sorts of beer. That's what he says.
All sorts of beer?
All sorts of beer. We had party. We had all sorts of beer. What the fuck?
That's fantastic.
I watched that, and I'm trying to think of the other movies that I watched. I didn't get a. Oh, I watched. Know what I watched? Oh, we can talk about this. Maybe you saw it. I think you saw it. Ad Astra, which I don't know if I should bring it up, to be honest.
I really enjoyed it.
No, I'm saying topic-wise, it's about.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty funny.
It's about fathers and sons.
Yeah, no, it's fine. One of the movies that I went into with a little reservation and then loved the whole thing.
Well, sometimes these movies come along. I liked it a lot. I did like it. But it's one of these movies where so now the world that we live in is like you have dramas and then you have dramas. And
yeah, this one's a slow burner.
This one is a drama. There's not even any. I don't think there's a affable. I don't think there's a quirky person in the whole movie.
It's a tough sit, but it's I think worth it.
It's like watching a movie cast with a cast full of CIA operatives. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody's military in it, but I did like it. It's very heavy. It speaks to
beautiful.
my things I get emotional about, like dad stuff, and
for sure.
And it's done really well, and it's got great acting in it. But
yeah, I liked it a lot.
You're not going to have there's no weird. Maybe there's one weird look joke, maybe at one point, but there's zero sense of humor. What'd you say?
That's what I remember.
I'm just saying that because I'm like, maybe I missed it because there's zero sense of humor in this movie.
Yeah.
It is just a straight up, and I kind of like when they, and which is movies
fine.
have a tone like that. I like when they do that. I don't mind it. It actually is different. Like everything, comedy has kind of infiltrated everything at this point. That it's pretty refreshing when you have something that's like, oh, the directive of this was to be very, very somber and serious, and like. Because also it helped you think of the future as depressing, and that's what they were trying to convey. Like,
sure,
showing the commercial trips to the moon and how they're like airplanes, but it's just quiet and weird and ominous. It's like that. It's like weirdly. It's like quietly awkward a lot of times throughout the movie.
Yeah.
So
not every movie needs comic relief.
I agree. That's why I enjoy this.
There are a lot of my favorite movies are drama movies. I don't think there's really a comedy per se in my top 5. I think a lot of my favorite movies are the ones that sometimes are either very dark comedy and I don't even want to label it that, but the ones that have the tone of drama and maybe do it very slyly, have that little bit of comedy. Like The Graduate kind of comes to mind. It's not a funny movie, but there's little tiny bits of comic relief. Like Cool Hand Luke has those sweeter moments where it's like it's not even really comedy, but it's just not as serious as the rest of the tone of the movie.
And Ad Astra didn't even have that.
Not even have that.
And on top of it, you kind of bring it back to Wayne's World too because of Graduate, the last scene in The Graduate.
Yeah, so perfect.
They do it, and they do a shot-for-shot remake of the last couple of minutes of The Graduate with the. And he goes, yeah.
I was going to say, that reminded me of a cool story that I heard because somebody brought up the original Wayne's World to me recently, and I heard a cool story that I never had heard before was that the original cut of Wayne's World came out to like 50 minutes, 5-0.
Really?
The producer was
that makes sense.
You got to get this to feature length,
Yeah.
And that's why, if you go back and watch Wayne's World, there's a lot of one-off kind of almost Saturday Night Live-ish skits and bits in there.
Yeah.
To fill time. You go, oh, I bet that was a filler. And that's like they do the 3 endings. They're like, now let's do the Scooby-Doo ending.
Yeah.
Just to eat up some time. And
but
I
it
thought
works.
That was a funny story. And it works because those 2 guys are like 2 of the all-time great SNL cast members.
And they break the fourth wall in that one, and they break the fourth wall in the second one too.
Yeah.
But
so
they have.
funny.
It's kind of like that. It's a good thing to explore. Because The Graduate I like as a movie. It's not my top 10.
Me neither, but I like, yeah.
But A Graduate I think is a movie that the last scene is why it's so legendary besides the whole relationship, the Mrs. Robinson stuff, and that's become part of the public consumption. But that last scene, the way it's shot, it's a very, talk about, like I was just saying with Ad Astra, like, a weird because they take the sound out. Remember when he's banging on the glass and then you see technique. The parents. it's a weird. It makes you feel weird. Like it makes you feel because then on top of it, like I think it might have been one of the first movies to do this because I think it was considered like an indie movie for the '60s. Like it was made for like no money.
Is it Mike Nichols' first movie?
It might be. Yeah. But even the ending, it's not a happy ending.
No. It's that ambiguous, weird ending that's been, spoofed a million times.
Yeah, exactly. Them on the bus, not saying, and awkwardly looking around like, oh, what did we just do kind of thing. And you're right. It's been revisited time and time again in TV shows and movies. But it's really it's more real life than movie endings usually are. Like you would get to it's funny, like them running out of the church would have been, that's your blockbuster ending. It's like, cool, happily ever after. Them hopping on the bus and being like, oh, wait, like, what? What do we do? What's going on?
Yeah.
Like that's so much more for real. Is he?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's the Nichols of Nichols and May. Like, he was a comedy duo.
Yeah.
He was like a stage actor, then a director. I mean, like, a really insane showbiz career that I don't think a lot of people know about. He was also like, Mike Nichols is not his real name. It's like some crazy Polish. It's like, Mikhail Igor Petrachowski or something like that.
Jesus.
Too. Yeah.
You're not going to get ahead in this business with that name, kid. Do you know what Michael Keaton's real name is? Do you know what his real name is?
No, I don't.
It's Michael Douglas.
Come on.
It is. And he couldn't join SAG with that name.
Right.
Because of Michael Douglas, so he changed it to Michael Keaton.
Oh, that's fantastic.
He also used to do stand-up, Michael Keaton.
Yes, that's true. That's what they call that's a DYM fun fact, baby.
we call them DYM tidbits. DYM tidbits. So I watched that. And I watched something else, but I can't remember what it is.
I started to watch the Will Ferrell Netflix movie with Rachel McAdams, and I don't know if I'm going to go back to it. It's like the Fire of Saga, and the Saga of Fire and Ice or something.
Yeah.
You know the plot.
Yeah, it's like they're trying to make the best European song of all
Eurovision,
time.
yeah.
Your Eurovision song, whatever.
And here's the thing.
What is Eurovision? Is that a type of music? Is that what that is?
That was the show. That was like the showcase. It was basically their, I guess, America's Got Talent kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or the singer, whatever. So I only got about 45 minutes in before I turned it off to play video games, just because I was like, this isn't doing it for me.
But it's got what's her name in it, who I love.
I love Will Ferrell, too. He consistently makes me laugh, but it just wasn't grabbing me because it was just kind of the same shtick.
I don't want to be an asshole when I say this, but do you think that Will Ferrell is just fucking with everybody at this point? Like, don't you think, like, if you guys at that level, it's almost like Jim Carrey, same thing, where it's like guys who they've gotten so much to the pinnacle of show business comedy or comedy in general that they're like, I'm going to purposely not be funny for the last 20 years of my life. You know what I'm saying? Like,
here's
30
what
years
I
of my
think.
life.
I don't think they would purposely do that. I think once you've reached that level, I think you're just going to do whatever you want that you have fun doing because you've been awarded that license. So maybe he just had a really fun time, loved the script, and wanted to do it, and doesn't care. That's what I think. Like Sandler just like wants to make movies for his friends, Yeah. I mean, because those have been pieces of shit for a long time now.
Yeah, but the new one's great. Wrong Missy is great.
Oh, buddy, I couldn't watch 10 minutes of it.
Oh, you're out of your mind.
Are you kidding? Oh, I love Lauren Lapkus too, but she was so goddamn annoying.
Oh, I thought she was really funny in it. I thought.
Really?
I thought it brought it back to like that old school. I thought. I thought it brought back to that old school like Sandler movie stuff where, and also making the main character is like the Happy Gilmore Billy Madison thing where it's like she's the main crux of it. Whatever it is.
Right.
I thought she was great in it.
Here's a little connection though I do have from The Wrong Missy. This is just going to become 6 degrees with DYM at this point.
Yeah, right.
So Molly Sims, who played the right Missy in The Wrong Missy, I won't give anything else away for those who want to watch. Did you ever watch Las Vegas, the TV show?
No.
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
And they just had a marathon on this whole past weekend, and I watched like 50 of them. It was so fun. She is so funny and so hot. You're just like, she was so great. It's got Josh Duhamel. It's got
James Caan.
James Caan. I call him Jimmy Caan.
Wait, how long did that show last?
Marceau. It was like 5 seasons.
Was it really?
Yeah, it was really cool. It was an hour-long like comedy drama. It was great, man.
Wait, where did they show this? Where did they do the marathon?
E! Entertainment News.
They must have got a real cheap property on that one. Like, how do we fill people's Corona time with fucking, what can we do?
It was a nice thing to revisit because I watched the reruns a couple years ago and then it disappeared. And it was a pleasant surprise to find it on.
I'm surprised it's not streaming on something.
Maybe it is.
Maybe I'll check it out under your recommendation.
Yeah, dude. There's funny. They're one of the guys who's like one of the heads of security. This guy's name's James LeSure in real life. His character's name is Mike Cannon.
Oh, that's funny.
But yeah.
Oh, that's pretty funny. Mike Cannon, his hair was pink for a while.
Yeah, what do you? Yeah, I mean, we'll do whatever you want these times. He's married with a kid. It's probably
you can do whatever.
Make your kid laugh, with green hair, pink hair.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So,
are you going to do any Zoom shows or anything?
No, I have. I did a few shows of stand up, and
oh yes, how did that go?
So yeah, I did an outdoor show in Pennsylvania.
Soul Joel, very good guy.
So it was basically I did stand up to a tailgate, which is essentially what it was. Yeah. Everybody had their trunks open in a parking lot, and I was kind of on this hill. And it worked fine. I did about 43 minutes, and they were too far away, but they were very nice, and you could tell they wanted to be out and at a show because the reception was very good, and it's just, dude, the mechanics, buddy, are
so. Did they have?
Take you a while.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna.
I thought I was racing. We're just like when you do it every night, you have your pacing down, and just after 94 days, I felt like I was cruising through my bits and stuff. And I was looking for the light, and I got off. I was like, dude, I hope that was. She was like, no, you did 43. And I did every single one of my bits that I had, written out for the show.
Yeah. Did they have chairs?
Yeah, they basically brought their own lawn chairs and stuff like that. The setup was nice. It was nice weather, and it was just a different thing. It was just felt good to get out there and run through my set and make a few bucks at the same time and kind of get out of my routine. But
what was the other one that you did? You did like multiple shows there, right?
No, I just did one there. I did the Diner Drive-In show.
I'm doing that next week.
Which was good, too. I'm glad I was able to do that and really shake off the cobwebs because that was actually the really first time I'd been on stage in 3.5 months. So that was just like a 15-minute set. And then I was up in Mohegan Sun this past Saturday with Greg, and I did a couple of spots there.
With Greg Stone?
With Greg Stone, sorry, yes. And that was the first thing that felt really right to me because it was a club and it was 50% capacity.
Was it indoors?
Yeah, it was in Comics at Foxwoods. Mohegan Sun.
Whoa!
Yeah, they had 50%. The casino was open.
Wait, so how were the crowds?
First crowd was very light and kind of reserved. The second crowd for the later show on Saturday was bigger and a lot more fun. I did a little bit of crowd work. It felt the most normal it's been since this thing started.
Yeah,
that actually felt like stand-up comedy to me.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. But it was still there. They had people separated. Everybody was socially distant.
That's the club that's run by the worst people in comedy.
Mark is great.
Who? Mark?
Mark is great. Mark Wiesenthal, who I love.
Oh, I don't know who that is.
Very good.
I don't care. The guys who own it, it's like, they're shitheads, but who cares at this point? It's like, it's the end of the world because they're probably not bad guys. Who cares?
Have you done any stand-up at all?
Not live yet. Tuesday's going to be my first one. And then besides that, I haven't tried to rebook anything yet. I just been kind of like, I'm like, what it is? I'm not going to, it's one of those things where I was hearing about clubs in the city opening back up in July, but that's not happening now.
Now we got pushed back.
And as far as road stuff goes, I'm like, I don't want to, I was supposed to do that album in May, which I've mentioned before. I think maybe even last time we did this.
Yeah,
Nichols in May. Thanks, buddy. And, and I kind of would rather just put it off and have things that were legit shows that I can run through it.
Oh, dude, yeah, you got to work it for
So if I do it like where it's like it comes out a year later, where it's like I take fall to run it and then do it in the winter and it comes out in the spring, like whatever. I don't know.
Well, that's the thing too. With my headlining set, I needed to look at my notes almost every 5 minutes. It was just like once I get the chunk started, I can go through for 5 or 10. But if I didn't have my set list up there, I would have been lost. I needed to look. That's the thing. It's like those little mechanics and just the memory of being like, what are my jokes again? Oh, right. Once I see the title, then I can rattle it off. But even then, like some tags and stuff, you go, oh, yeah, I forgot to say that,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's going to be rusty, but, especially going into an album, you want to have that worked out as much as possible.
Right now, at this moment, I don't think I can tell you one of my jokes.
I know. I was telling somebody the other day, I was telling Vecchione, we took a walk, and I was like, yeah, I have this story that I've been doing for a while now, and I couldn't remember how it started.
Yeah.
I couldn't even remember.
Yeah, the only saving grace is I've been throwing old jokes in on Zoom shows just so I don't forget.
Yeah,
like I have them on my notes or my old videos, and I'll jot down, oh, okay, start saying that one. Just because it's like, oh, it fills time, and it'll keep the muscle of that.
It is kind of fun in a way to rediscover them all, but...
That's why they probably go better because you're not sick of saying them because you have 10 months off from saying them. Yeah.
And the only other thing, too, which is kind of a bummer, is that you get the little taste, you get your fix, and then I was like, now I just want to do more shows, and I just have literally nothing lined up for any sort of immediate future.
Yeah, I know. That's how I know I'm going to feel that way. Because I was like, I've had some fun, like there's Zoom shows where, well, at least my mindset on the Zoom shows for stand-up is like there's no stakes whatsoever.
Sure.
Zero stakes. The way I think of it is like not that I don't care if I'm going to care if I bomb, but I'll care for about 12 seconds and then I'll just move on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's also it also made me realize I'm like maybe I'd like to that's the other thing I'm like maybe it's dangerous where I'm like I'd like to change the type of comic I am, like delivery wise, not that change who I am, but just slow down. Like that's one of my pet peeves that I do is I talk way too fucking fast
But it's kind of your personality. I don't think it's a negative, I mean, it's endearing the way you do,
Yeah, it's somewhat,
But I get it. Yeah, now's the time. Make a switch, baby.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like if maybe the time off rewires me and I'm up there and I don't, I'm not. I just don't want to be as like as I usually am, But then you go back to that. You go back to that behavior because you're like, oh, it worked in the past, so let me just be Mr. Fucking.
Very easy to fall back on those old habits.
Goofy asshole. Yeah, exactly. How about any gals you're talking to at this point?
I knew that question was coming, buddy. No, I couldn't even get any sympathy dates out of this thing.
Oh. That's not even what I meant, but yeah, that's funny.
No, I'm kidding.
You're texting, yeah, I can hang out next week, but I just have to go to my dad's wake first.
I don't know what would make me feel better. No, none to speak. I mean, it's a dry desert on my dating scene, buddy. That's weird too that you bring it up. I struggled with telling my ex-girlfriend even because we had kind of in text. I don't know if I told you, I went to that Michael Che show in Long Island City right here in Queens. Yeah. I was kind of hanging out backstage, which is not really a backstage. It's just kind of out in the open.
It's literally behind the people performing.
Yeah, just because all her friends are there. And she texted me, she goes, hey, I saw you at Michael Che. And I go, all right, weirdo, why didn't you tell me hello? And who knows, for whatever reason. But we
talked about that last episode.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it, and then that was like, Dad died 3 days later. So I was like, should I even tell her? Because we did. So I ended up just being like, hey, my dad passed away, and I remember he was excited because you were from Michigan. This is another great thing about my dad. I told her where she was from. I was like, oh, she's from Michigan. He was like, oh, great girls from Michigan. Dated a great girl from Michigan in the 70s. And I was like, all right, cool. So,
do you realize how many decades your dad was alive?
Yeah.
Almost 10 decades. Your dad was alive in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. That's insane.
Yeah.
By the time the 30s rolled around, your dad was that's when he was forming memories. 1930.
Yeah, so 1930, he was 7 years old.
That's when you I remember shit I did when I was 6 to 7.
Yeah, which is crazy.
So that's when you start. You take that stuff with you. So
I always thought that was one of the most fascinating things about him because he almost grew up with the country in a way. He saw every single thing, for the most part, that happened to the United States of America in the 20th century. You know what I mean? The Great Depression he was a part of. He was a part of the 30s, coming out of the Prohibition. I mean, the 40s, the 50s, all the wars. I mean, he was in a war, it was just that. I always was fascinated about how one person could be a part of so much of a country's history. He's
smart Forrest Gump. With more of a history.
That's fucking great. He loved that movie too.
Yeah, anybody who spans decades, he probably loved it. That's pretty remarkable,
Yeah, it really was. So he'll be missed, but you got to celebrate the life more than get down on it. Honestly, we had so much time with him; it's really hard to be too sad about it. But it's more. I'll miss him. That's the only thing.
It's chemical, man. There's no way to avoid it. It's just it's human nature. It's I don't want to meet the guy who doesn't get upset, even if your dad's 150 and passed away.
Sure.
You're just a fucking robot. But yeah.
So sorry. Hopefully, we didn't bring too many people down this week.
No. I think it's interesting conversation, man.
Yeah, he's a guy worth talking about too. It was just fun to not fun, but sobering. And fun at the same time to go back and look through all my dad's kind of things. And I mean, he collected everything, buddy. I mean, bordering on hoarder levels.
Really? Well, that's funny.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Because he was an engineer, right? So he probably thought
very curious mind.
Yeah.
It's funny too because I collect a lot of tickets. I think I have that gene too, where it's just I keepsakes. I keep track of stuff.
Oh, absolutely. I think we should. I think we should dedicate this episode to your dad, and also. I would say it's a crowning achievement for him, considering a guy who went through World War II and was an engineer. I'd say this might have been this is the epitome of the 96 years of his.
He can rest in peace now.
Well, I'm glad you're okay, and I'm glad you talked about it. I think it's interesting to talk about. People don't talk about the weirdness after that. I think people think I think people think a certain way about it, and then it's just there's nobody who's just okay with it, or there's no quick fix. There's no that kind of thing. But
I will say I think it was a little easier. It wasn't a young guy. He didn't die riding his Harley. Definitely, so
riding his Harley. That'd be funny. That would not to be a dick, but that'd be funny if that was the reason.
Yeah. His age caught up to him. Nah, it was actually hot air ballooning and.
He was parkour. He was doing parkour. All right, let's wrap this up, baby cakes. It's good to see you.
Talk to you, buddy.
It's good to see your fucking Italian Irish face. And guys. Guys, make sure this is the DYM podcast. We've changed brands. We're gonna blow up. We're going viral. Make sure you subscribe, rate, and review, and tell your friends about it. We got a message from somebody, and I shouted them out. So your name could be on this podcast. Put it that way. We'll shout you out. Tell your friends about it, and tell them what they said. Send us a picture of a potato and what you loved about the podcast. The meat. We don't even do the meats and the peach. We haven't done it the past 2 weeks.
I know.
But thank you guys so much for listening, and check us out at DYM the DYM podcast on Instagram, and follow that, and you'll get way more information and postings and content on there. And Andy, we'll see you next week. And what is your social, Andrew?
Oh, you know me. It's Andy Fiore through everything.
And mine is at Shawnee Time. All the socials, Instagram, Twitter. That's what I mean by that. Yep. And my name on Facebook, but nobody's on there anymore. It's a graveyard at this point. But thanks so much.
Graveyard.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm kidding, of course.
And we'll see you next week. And have a great week. And we love you. Bye.